So now that we have this revisionist history where people try to like compare modern day basketball, like and saying that Kobe didn't fit the model of what today's NBA is playing like, is silly as hell. Because the best players in the NBA, from SGA to DeRozan to even LeBron now adapting that mid-range game, is predicated on who Kobe Bryant was. And so I don't like the disrespect. It really does. It really irks my soul. So this week on the Bill Simmons podcast, Bill Simmons was joined by Rob Mahoney, and they were debating just a list of teams' power rankings in this year's NBA season. But the conversation diverted a little bit, and they ended up talking about Kobe Bryant and his all-time ranking position, right? So there was a slight conversation about the fact that Tim Duncan was a better player than Kobe Bryant, and they were very dismissive of the fact that Kobe should even be in that conversation, right? Like Bill was very blasé about who the heck Kobe Bryant is and was and will forever be. And so this morning I saw a clip where Lou Will was defending his former teammate Kobe Bryant and basically was like, yo, people got revisionist history. Y'all got to stop acting like Kobe is not Kobe. So Samaria, how much of a Kobe fan were you, and all time, where do you think his legacy is cemented?
Okay, so before we get into that, let's go back to what the conversation was that was on FanDuel. He says there's too many conversations around Kobe's legacy for my liking. When that man was alive and well, none of this was a conversation. And Chandler Parsons is also on that FanDuel lineup, and he was the one that pushed Kobe out of the top three for Tim Duncan. And I think that is a very interesting conversation. But it's regarding like respect though, let's not act like Kobe's legacy has not been disrespected this whole time. Like it's not just something that has just come up. I feel like once LeBron came into the picture, people were then putting LeBron and Michael Jordan and booting Kobe out. And it wasn't until you had like former athletes like Allen Iverson, et cetera, come out and say like, no, like y'all are forgetting who Kobe was, right? Yeah. So like, I love that Lou Will is coming out and saying that today, but I think that it's something that has been happening.
When Kobe passed away in 2020, there was somewhat of an embargo period where like you couldn't say anything negative about Kobe Bryant, right? And then there was maybe like 2 years ago, for whatever reason, that embargo was lifted. And then people started to take shots at the legacy of Kobe Bryant. And maybe shot is too strong of a sentiment. Like people started actually sharing their newfound beliefs or their truths about how they felt about Kobe Bryant, from Bill Simmons to Ryan Russillo, Rob Mahoney, the list goes on, right? And I remember when Kobe Bryant was in the NBA, there you had a small faction of people who wanted to compare Allen Iverson or Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady. But the fact of the matter is there was never anybody in the NBA during his high prime years that could fuck with Kobe Bryant. And that's just the fact of the matter. So now that we have this revisionist history where people try to like compare modern day basketball, like this version of basketball, he didn't shoot a high enough percentage and like the game was played very differently during Kobe Bryant's tenure. So to try to compare who Kobe was and the way the game was played then to this new free flowing, wide open space and pace, everybody shooting threes and saying that Kobe didn't fit the model of what today's NBA is playing like, is silly as hell. Because the best players in the NBA, from SGA to DeRozan to even LeBron now adapting that mid-range game, is predicated on who Kobe Bryant was. And so I don't like the disrespect. It really does. It really irks my soul. It really irks my soul.
No, I agree. Now back to your initial question. For me, Kobe is top three. I would put him over LeBron. We just saw this conversation with Candace Parker on the All the Smoke podcast. All the Smoke, yeah. And she was very apologetic at putting LeBron at three. And there was a lot of dialogue about that. Why are people so apologetic when they put LeBron at three in that all-time list? I want to hear your thoughts on that too.
It's because of what LeBron has done for so long. Right. You're talking about a guy who's played in the league for 21 years and damn near 22 years now and is still playing at an elite level, is still playing at like no worse than a top 20 player in the league. He's broken seemingly every record. And so from a longevity standpoint, when you look at the totality of LeBron's numbers, they look like the guy who was the greatest of all time. But I always make this comparison. If you are teaching a 7-year-old basketball, right, and you want to show them the example of who they should model their game after, you're going to choose Kobe Bryant over LeBron James because there's no way that anybody of a normal size can replicate what LeBron James was able to do on an NBA court. You can't be 6'8", 250. But the footwork, the grace, and the style that Kobe Bryant played with is something that anybody could do at a high level, so long as you have that maniacal commitment to being better in the game of basketball that Kobe Bryant did. He is the he's not the blueprint, because Michael Jordan is the blueprint, but he is the blueprint 2.0 for that kind of efficiency, that kind of excellence. Like, there's a mastery of the game of basketball. And I think today's game, for whatever reason, today's game is like, it's stat basketball. We are living in a time where people are looking at the numbers. That shot is inefficient. That shot is inefficient. We only want to shoot threes and layups. And so we have this new form of basketball that's being played that really isn't that appealing, if we're being completely honest, where people just are doing one of two things: layups or 3-pointers or free throws. And so we've lost a lot of nuance in the game. It's like when you get in the car, and if it's hot, you turn your thermostat all the way to the left, or if it's cold, you turn it all the way to the right. It's like, there's mad temperatures in the middle, and we've lost the ability to be in that middle space where I think the game of basketball is most brilliantly played. Yeah. And let me just say, I do love Bron. I think Bron is spectacular. I think he's been a phenomenal ambassador for the game. He is what the league needed, of course, post Kobe. But when you look at just the nuances of the game, right? It's different when you compare the skill level of Kobe Bryant to the ferocity of Bron. He passes better than Kobe, but in terms of like just pure basketball mechanics, it's not even close.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also feel like maybe when we have these GOAT conversations, that we need to like divvy it up based off of position too. Because I just think like when you look at like other sports, particularly football, like you can say, oh, that was the greatest running back of all time. That was the greatest quarterback of all time. That was the greatest tight end or linebacker. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say like somebody in football was like the greatest ever, like all around. I mean, people say Tom Brady, yes, but he's a quarterback too, right? But I feel like this conversation with like Tim Duncan in there, it's like, yes, we can say that Tim Duncan was the greatest or one of the greatest at his position, but I hate that like we're comparing, just like when we have the conversation about like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it's like we're comparing two women that play two different positions.
No, definitely.
Or does that matter in basketball? I don't know.
So it's tricky in basketball because we have, like I told you a couple of weeks ago, there's like best and greatest. And so some of that, you can't be so great if you haven't had a certain level of success, right? You have to have produced championships, all NBAs, all-star, like you have MVPs, all of these things go into the greatest. But the best basketball player is the guy, like if you just roll the basketball out there, who is more likely to get a W? Because there's so many things that impact and affect a player's ability to build up his resume. And of course, that's front office, that's how they draft, that's the coaches, teammates, all of those different things. And so Tim Duncan was amazing, bro. Like incredible. I will never talk badly about Tim Duncan, but you look at that Spurs system and you look at the fact that he had the greatest coach of all time in Popovich. You look at the players around him, from Manu to David Robinson to Tony Parker. Like it's a gaudy system, right? And then you could say the same thing about Kobe for his first 3 championships, but those next 2, yeah, he had Phil Jackson, but when we were watching the game of basketball in the 2000s, like when we were like, when I was sitting back, Kobe was just different. He had the Bruce Leroy glow. He had all the things. And even as he got older and his game was less athletic and more like it just was, the evolution of his game was crazy. And I think those last 3 years with the Lakers, 3 or 4 years with the Lakers, after the Achilles tear, I think that's the people, for whatever reason, that's the version of Kobe Bryant that people remember. And it's like, nah, man, you can't do that to him. Like, you see who he was playing with? That's not fair. You can't use those years to compare his final years to what LeBron is currently doing in LA with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis. Like, you can't do that, man. Like, that's not fair. Yeah. I did hear a very interesting stat though. This might blow your mind. How old do you think Kobe Bryant was the last time he played in the playoffs? He was 32 years old the last time he was in the playoffs with the Lakers. And LeBron is 41. So there's like the longevity conversation, but those Lakers teams are not. Yeah, those Lakers teams were terrible, man. Terrible front office management.
the kids that are on social media that are spearheading these debates did not witness him, right? It's generations now that have seen LeBron. It's kind of crazy.
So the Hawks wore throwback jerseys the other day that LeBron played against. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers throwback jersey for this year is like LeBron's second or third Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. That's how long like his jersey is the throwback jersey of choice for organizations now. That's crazy.
Yeah. He's getting old up there. Y'all around the same age, ain't you?
We are. We graduated high school the same year, but you know. Facts. Class of 2003, baby. What's up? We out here. We still flourishing. I look good. Keep on living. Someday you'll get there.
We can do this GOAT talk for ever and ever, but we want to hear from you all down in the comments below. Let us know, number one, who is your GOAT? I want to hear your top three too. Like, let's just have like a full debate in the comments. I promise I'm gonna get in. And do you feel like Kobe is not respected enough in this GOAT conversation? All of those things, let us know down below.
For sure, man. Make sure y'all also tap into our newsletter. The link is in the bio for that. I'm a bit of a hypocrite because as much as I just said about Kobe Bryant, I'm taking Steph Curry over Magic Johnson. So there's that.